All right, guys, welcome back. This is Asker from Breakfast Trading. I wanted to do a quick video for you to understand these updates we made to Breakfast Trading, the XMode 6 strategy, Sona, and all of it. This first part of the video is just going to be focused on XMode and how to use it and how it works today. What we have done with this update is that we have removed all of the other trading strategies that we backtested and realized they're just not even close to performing as well as the new XMode 6 strategy, which is a mean reversion strategy that works super well. And we're going to do a few trades and we're going to have a look at how we can make some money. So we have Sona over here. And what I've done is that I have filtered out 1 minute. I'm just looking at 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and 1 hour. Now, 1 hour and 30 minutes, you're not going to see trades too often, but you will see them sometimes. 5 minutes, 15 minutes is really where the sweet spot is. And I have major Forex, Forex minders, indexes, metals, commodities enabled here. So that is really the setup here. And, before we really get started, we want to understand today what is what kind of volatility can we expect today? Is there going to be some big news events? So what we're going to do is we're going to go here to Daily FX. We're going to give it a refresh, and we're just going to have a look, seeing at what we got today. So we got a little bit of volatility today, actually. 1930, we got a lot. All right, Canada, United States, some non-farm payroll, etc. And then otherwise, some small events already passed today's. So 1930 is really like the zone we want to watch out for. Looks like we also have something at 4. So we want to keep that in mind. And what we have really, over here at Sona is the new version of Sona, which operates also on 1 minute time frame, 5 minute time frame, and 15 minute. And the way it does this is that it uses the new RTD3 that we have created. You might remember RTD from the previous versions, where it was only operating on 1 time frame. We have now extended this so it works across all time frames and shows you the context of that specific time frame and what you need to know. So you don't have to browse, like if you're trading on 5 minute, you don't necessarily have to browse for all these different time frames to understand what's really going on, because it already shows you just here based on 5 minute, which is really the 5 minutes really like the 4-hour RTD, if you think about it. Okay, that's it's just showing you in a higher resolution and giving you a much better perspective on the market, right? So you can see this GBP JPY has been in a downtrend since 6 o'clock in the morning, and before that it was in an uptrend. And the main focus of the new strategy that we have built here, like let me just explain it to you, is that in these financial markets, in forex markets and so on, what happens is that you have big players, big entities, institutions, banks, corporations that all need to convert their money or acquire a certain amount of money in one currency or another, or they need to rebalance or whatever. And whenever they do this, what they do is that they really task a bank to do it. They tell the bank like, hey, we need $100 million of GBP to pay our staff next month, for salaries or whatever. So they need to convert from one currency or another to them. And the way they do this is using TWAP algorithms or other algorithms to execute the orders. And these are really just simple trading algorithms that we can detect in the market when they are active. And it's pretty easy. And that's where you start seeing these trending markets. So whenever we have a trending market, what it really is that we have an active group of buyers or sellers that is performing a purchase or a sale. And what we're doing in XMode 6 with the XMode 6 strategy is that we are detecting these large buy or sell orders that's being executed over time. And then we measure how the buyers and sellers are interacting with the liquidity providers, the market makers, who's there on the other side of the trade. Because what happens is that when a market maker notices that someone is trying to buy or sell a lot, or it comes out of nowhere, they start to notice that someone is trying to buy $100 million of GBP or whatever, Bitcoin or stock or something. What they do is that they get out of the way and they increase the spreads, and they are trying to force these guys to buy and sell at the worst possible price. So that's why you see these moves that just start trending up like this, because as soon as it dives down like this, and some, maybe some other people will call this like a liquidity gap or whatever, but really it is that some player was waiting for the market to dive so they could start buying. And as the market dives down, someone turns on the buying algorithm, and this happens pretty quick, and the market may quickly realizes that, okay, someone's looking to buy a lot of this. I'm going to pull my spread. I'm going to pull my my orders, and I'm going to try to trade with these guys in a way that they're buying expensively from me, and then I can buy it back cheap on the market. That's what they're doing. Okay, that's all that's ever happening in the market, really. And what we do with XMode 6 strategy is that we position ourselves so that the inefficiency between the buyer and the seller gets exploited, and we can sit and extract profits while these two parties are negotiating price. That's what we do. So over here we have the Sonar feed, and you can see we had GBP CAD just pop up here. We can have a look at that trade, and it is like you used to know. You can go look at the back test on our website. This works. This really works, and this is all you have to do. It's extremely effective. And you can see we have the strategy mode here. You make sure you have strategy mode turned on, and then you can actually just go ahead and place a trade. Very simply like this. And roughly on 5-minute time frame, roughly 72% of all the trades that you'll see pop in over here is going to be winners. And on, oh, it looks like we got filled. It's okay. It's just a tiny trade, right? And on 15 minutes, it's a little bit lower. It's about 68%, 65 to 68%, depending on the markets. And that's really the game here. In Sonar, we pick up these trends, we display them to you, and you can simply go and you can pick a trade and you can place it. And there's not really too much to that. It's pretty simple in that way. The new thing is that it also works on 1-minute time frame and 5-minute time frame. But when you're operating on these small time frames, like you can see, we just got Texas Oil pop up here, a 1-minute trade. See if it still exists. And so what it's showing us here is to buy down here if the market comes down here, right? So what it is that on 1-minute time frame, RTD has detected, a large buyer, at least for this specific time frame, that's executing a buy order, and showing us that if someone were to sell down in this area, and that would be a deviation. If someone were to do something like that, we should go ahead and pick it up. And if you go here and the trade doesn't show, what you can do is really, you can place this tool from here, and you can just replace it like this. And then you can place the trades. But if you don't have the orders, the market mapped, you might have to do like this. Here we go. And then you can see we have the contract. This is the June contract, which is the most recent, and then you map it. And then it should calculate position size correctly, like this, and you can go ahead and place your trades. Okay, it says invalid volume, so probably it does not accept less than this. No? So minimum 1. Yeah, minimum 1. That's how it is sometimes. Depends on your broker. That is really the game here, guys. Now, if you want to set your risk, you can click up here and you can determine the risk for each time frame that you're willing to take, 1%, whatever that you're comfortable with. What I do recommend is that you don't go crazy with this. It is much better to stay long-term in the game, trading actively and being able to compound your money than just 10xing your account in one day. It's much more healthy as well. So you basically have this feed here, and your job is really, like, Sonar is already doing the majority of the job for you. But your job here is to make sure that you don't take too much exposure across all the markets. You can see that this is an EUR GBP market, and I'm already long on EUR GBP. I have a long position on GBP CAD, and this is EUR GBP. So technically, this is basically the same direction. Now, I had some questions earlier that I wanted to bring up. Back CK here is asking about back to the basics. What does the levels actually mean? What to do with changing levels? And what can users do? So let me explain. Let's turn strategy mode off here for a sec. Let me explain these levels for you. The way that the X mode algorithm was designed in 2018 was that by mapping the same inefficiencies that I talked about just before, mapping these for multiple time frames in the past. So we look at 1 hour, we look at 4 hour, 1 day, 15 minute, and all these different time frames, and we try to find a spot where the buyer or the seller consistently engage with the market and start buying and selling. And based on finding this confluence, we plot these multiple levels here. You can see these and try to find a time frame where it really aligns. And that is what it is. Now, in today's world, I don't think this is so necessary to show anymore because it is really just an algorithmic output of what the algorithm sees. And that's also why, when you turn strategy mode on, it just shows you very, very simply what you need to do. So you can see here, it's very active. You will have a lot of trades that come in, and they're all great trades. These are great trades that you can confidently take, and you'll do great. However, what you need to keep in mind is that a lot of these assets are correlated. And what you don't want to do is that you don't want to be taking too many correlated trades at the same time. Because what will happen is that once in a while, when a very big volatility spike comes online, it will take, it will stop you out of all positions at the same time because they're all correlated to the same thing. And that is really the problem here. Because you need to understand that if you want your account to turn out this way, then you can't lose 10x. You can see, we have a loss once in a while, right? We have a loss. And if you're trading that day, if that's the day that you're trading and you're just very unlucky and you have 10 trades, 10 unique trades open, and the loss comes, then you will lose 10 trades that day. It's really important. So we don't know, we don't exactly know when these wins or losses come. But we know that based on the previous performance, that the algorithm is about, let's say, 70% effective at generating profit. But we don't know over the course of 100 trades where we're going to win 70 trades, we don't know where these 30 losses are going to come. It could be like 5 winning trades in a row and then a loss, or it could be 10 winning trades in a row and then a loss, or it could be 5 losses in a row and then 15 winning trades. So you cannot get discouraged just by taking a loss, especially if you take multiple losses a day, because most likely if you're taking multiple losses in one day, it's because you're doing the same trade but on multiple markets at the same time. So don't do that. Try to limit your trades to one market. Okay, let's go back to the questions here. Changing levels and so on. Yes. You don't have to do too much work anymore on the multiple timeframes trying to figure out the trend. This is really something we used to do in the past when we didn't have technology so well. What is good to do is to check the 1 day time frame for like a market that you're operating on. Like I'm on GBP CAD right now. And before taking this trade, it is good to go to 1 day time frame and just have a look and see, okay, so you can see some buyers have been consistently buying this for quite a while. It's good to know. And look at 4 hour, you'll see the same. And it's good to know, and we can use that information that we know for the past 3 months, someone has been actively buying this GBP CAD market, right? And maybe, I don't try to speculate on why it's going up or down. It doesn't fucking matter why it's going up and down. All we know is it could be a big company that every month needs to convert the GBP to the CAD to GBP or something like this. Could be a million reasons. It doesn't really matter. We don't really care. All we care about is volatility and mean reversion, right? So we trade these extension levels And that's all we got to do. That's really all you got to do. So what else to look out for? Well, there's really not that much else to look out for. Your job is to make sure that you're placing these trades and to make sure that you're not overexposed on multiple markets at the same time. So if I'm long on GBP CAD here now, we don't want to necessarily get more GBP exposure or CAD exposure depending on the risk that we're willing to take. And the risk management is already done for you, right? You set the amount of risk that you're comfortable with per trade. And then you have your risk outlined here. You can see that I'm risking 0.8% right now. If the market were to come down here, we'll lose 0.8% of our balance, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, let's go back and see here. So we already talked about news. You go to FX Daily and you map out the volatility. Now, this is not really that difficult, because what you want to keep in mind is that if, let's say that the time right now was 1920, okay? The clock right now is 1920. In 10 minutes, Canada is going to do some big announcement and United States is going to do some big announcement. And if we have a trade, right? Let's see if we can just get an example. Let's just say this trade here, right? So let's say that we know in 10 minutes, there's going to be a big announcement. And we have a GBP USD trade coming up here. It's already trading into support. Well, you want to keep in mind that when those news comes out, it's going to do a big volatility spike. So if you are already in the trade here, like if the market is already trading in the entry zone, by the time that the news comes out, you're probably not in a good position, right? Because you want to be instead in a position where the news is coming out and the market is still far away from the entry zone, so it can go wick into your entry upon the volatility coming out, right? Like here, let's say this trade, right? You can see how far down it has to the entry. So if we know in 10 minutes there's going to be news, this is a good trade to put on, because that means that the volatility from the news event can drive this price down to our entry point. But we don't want to be sitting in, here. We don't want to be sitting in the entry zone with our trade at the same time as the news comes out. We want to use the volatility from the news to fill our orders or fill our TPs. Okay, that's how you want to use the news. And I got a few more questions here. All right, basically, how you start looking for the right market starting from the higher time frame down. Look, when it comes to the higher time frame, it really does not matter too much anymore compared to what we're doing on 1 minute time frame. It mattered a lot for the swing trades and everything, 4-hour trades we were doing before. It does not matter too much anymore. Okay, it really does not. All we're using it for is really just context that shows us, okay, since September 2022, this thing has been continuously going up, some downtrend here and so on. But we can't, with this strategy that we're executing now, mean reversion, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter too much. I like to use it. I like to see it just to get myself like a picture about this market and understand the context of it's in. It's like, okay, I can see that this market opened, it went all the way up here yesterday, and then it opened here today, it went up, and now it's coming down. So there's probably some seller active, But I don't really use it much more than that. I just get a context of what is this market really doing at the moment. What to do when RTD is opposite of each other. I'm not exactly sure what that means. You can use the Sonar feed, use the Sonar feed, because Sonar is already outputting the trades that you really want to be taking. And then you just want to avoid these Forex exotics and like low and like low liquidity markets, right? The trade is placed, but the PA keeps moving away from the entry. How long do you wait, and what is the next action? Like I said, a lot of times we will be placing trades, but we're not necessarily going to get an entry. And that's perfectly fine. We are placing these trades. So in the event that someone do something stupid, and humans do stupid shit all the time, in the event someone do something stupid, they will propel the market into our positions, and we will take it and we'll make money. It's not like a guaranteed, like when you see a setup here like this, it's not like we're predicting that the market is going to go down here. We're not predicting that the market is going to go down. We are saying if the market does go down here, we will buy it. And if it keeps going away from it, that's fine. We go put some more trades on our different markets. That's what we do. We don't do we don't say that the market's going to go here. We say if it does, it's a buy or a sell, depending on what the market does, right? I do recommend that unless you can sit in front of the screen 24/7, I recommend that you stick to these 5-minute, 15-minute setups, because 1-minute trades and 5-minute trades too, you really have to be in and out quickly of these trades. 15-minute trades, you have more flexibility. It's easier to just go do something else while you're waiting for this, because it's going to take time for these trades to finish. But 1-minute trades, you need to be so fast to close your trade once you get it, or 5-minute trades also, that you really have to be stationed and sit in front of your computer to do it. How many positions would you recommend? So right now, if you want these backtests, if you want the results from these backtests, then just execute the Sonar strategy that we are using, which is 3 positions. 3 positions. You can see we are fully filled here now. This is okay. Full disclosure, this was not like the ideal trade that I showed you here. This was just like an example how to execute it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this trade. I'm happy to sit in this trade on GBP CAD. All right, guys, Aska again here. Just wanted to give you a quick update in this trade. You can see it's doing just fine. And that's what I mean. Take these trades in Sonar with confidence. Keep your risk managed. Make sure that you don't take trades, take too much risk across these trades. So if you have a max risk of 15% per correlated asset, that's like your limit. But this looks good to me. I'm happy with my $6 profit here. That's very good to me. I'm gonna go ahead and take this. And why do I take this now? Well, I did show you with Neural Mode that this market already had performed here earlier and gave a nice bounce, and now Neural Mode will show us support down here. And overall, I'm happy with this profit, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it. There you go. That's it. And then we just do it again. So Sonar trades, what I recommend is that when you have profit, I recommend you take your profit. Okay, no matter how much or what it is, I just recommend you to take your profits. You can even close all of it here if you want, but there's nothing wrong with this overall approach. But it's more like a template. Okay, I want you to look at it like this is like a template. We take 3 positions like this, and then we take our TP up 2 TPs here and 1 TP here. But there's nothing wrong with taking all your TPs here. There's nothing wrong with taking TPs earlier either. This is about generating money and do it again and again. Because you can see this market here. It came down, this same trade. It came down and it went into the TP zone, and you would have made profits. And now it's down here again, and we're picking up the trade again. And in the past, we have talked about repeated trades. Like, can we take a trade again if it's being repeated? This is where Neural Mode really comes alive, because what Neural Mode does really well, you can see here. What Neural Mode does really well is that this X mode has calculated this as support over here, right? And it did really well picking up these trades. But now a lot of time has passed, and actually the support is now down here in Neural Mode. Doesn't mean that this trade is not going to be successful, because we've done the back test and it shows that they are. But it means that if you wanted the same probability of winning the trade as over here, you should really be taking it down here now. Okay, because this was an untouched area. This is an untouched area, and this is already there's already stuff happening here, and this market already been trading in here. So you're already in the same zone that we've been trading in before. We can see like it works just fine. But the the key about the neural mode is that it has a different algorithm that dynamically updates the bands in real time. And this works super great. And that's also why it costs what it costs. But you also have to remember that the reason the neural mode costs what it costs is because it's going to do all of this for you automatically in the future, right? All right. Let me see if there was any more questions here. How many positions would you recommend? We talked about that. We used to look at multiple touch. Yeah, I think we already touched on that. So you can see the difference. You can see the difference between neural mode and X mode. You can see X mode is still here. X mode is still calculating this as support, but neural mode is showing it's down here. And that is really the difference here. And that is why the neural mode is so good as it is. And that's why it costs what it costs, because it is really like a revolution. So that is the difference. That's how you make money. All of these Sonar trades are great. If you trade 1 minute, you got to be in front of the computer. If you trade 5 minutes, you got to be in front of the computer. If you trade 15 minutes, you can take some breaks and so on, but you got to keep an eye on everything. We're going to introduce a new academy as well, and you can expect a lot more people to start showing up at Breakthrough Trading. And I'm very excited to see just how much money you guys can make with this. We want to empower you people. We want to give you guys the ability to exploit these markets the same way that the big hedge funds has been exploiting them and making money for the past years. Now it's your opportunity. It's your time. This is the genesis of the trading revolution, and you are now a part of it. Welcome to Breakthrough Trading. See you next week.